All right, well, hello everyone. Today we have Sharif Hatab, of course, and Abdel Khawatmi from PRMG Lending. And I'm excited today to bring Abdel on mainly because he's one of the top producing lenders that I know here in New Jersey. And his story of success will definitely inspire you if you're a real estate agent or even a lender. So, Abdel, welcome to the podcast. Please introduce yourself, tell the people that are listening a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for having us. As always a pleasure to catch both of you guys. Again, my name is Abdel Khawatmi. I'm the branch manager for Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, Got Mortgages. We've been in the mortgage industry since 2018 now, which is just shy of 7 years, which feels like 30 years in our world, right? From pre-COVID to post-COVID to I guess now you could say post-COVID, rolling with all, the punches as they came in, inventory, we're starting to see some stats start to come out like crazy, mainly in our world too, where there was about 400,000 plus loan officers, aside from charter bank loan officers, but 400,000 plus loan officers in 2021. There's about like 98,000 right now. And the numbers could be off by a little bit, but it goes to show you a huge shift in the industry. And I'm sure it's the same thing on real estate, right? I can never keep up with the stats. That's like, well, one closes and one, it's like ESPN, right? When you watch a basketball game and I'm like, where do they come up with these analytics, right? It's like, all right, this is the first person to score, a jump shot and then get a rebound. But yeah, it's been crazy. This institution, PRMG, is the only institution I've ever been licensed with too, which kind of speaks volume, one to the systems and the operations and things that we really have built in, but also just our team and our corporate structure and leadership and what we brought to the table. So,
Gotcha. So when it comes to like systems and things of that nature, Abdel, what kind of makes you stand out amongst the rest? Like, what's your value prop that you have that you basically propose to not only your partners, but your clients as well?
yeah, I mean, listen, in this business, I always share there's three sides to the business, right? Sales, service, and support. And you guys always know, right? When we do our biweekly calls, sales, from that aspect is also going to be geared into three different avenues: your pre-contract to the pre-approval, your pre-approval to the closing, and then your closing to the closing table. And then even the fourth part now that we've really honed in on is that post-closing follow-up, right? Peter, Sharif, we've worked with each other for many years. And it's always like, yo, dude, this client just hit me back up. They're looking to buy. Or, hey, man, client. I mean, how many times have we done wives and ex-wives and all that fun stuff during the transaction, trying to show you just that relationship buildup. But also on the sales side, I mean, listen, we've got a very, very strong online exposure too. I'm very, very big into content. My videos are not as pretty as Peter's. Sharif, you and I will do them, but Peter definitely puts us in his back pocket with his quality. And I think you posted the other day, I think it was a video you did like 7 or 8 years ago,
Yep.
which we were all obviously a lot skinnier back then too. Um, but it kind of goes to show how we've grown into it. Um, but online exposure is huge for us, right? Branding, reputational stuff. You guys know the only stuff I rock 99.9% of the times is our Got Mortgages gear. And we have fun with it, right? This was our holiday one. We will get your home alone. It's also helped us stand out, again, understanding the generation of buyers that we're catering to as real estate professionals, right? They're going to be those consumers who are going to go online. They're probably going to do their diligence. And if they can catch us on YouTube, or thank God TikTok is back for now, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, even Threads. I went back and downloaded Threads because I saw TikTok was going away and I had kind of completely forgot about the platform like most of us. Come to find out, it was like still feeding off my Facebook stuff. And I had missed so many comments because I was like, oh, this didn't really beat out Twitter. And there was a lot of engagement there. So now I've got it honed in on, and we built the systems. But that's really on the sales side, obviously generating lead flow and being accustomed to what the new lead flow is there too, right? From various different platforms that you and I have all been invested in together, and trying to really scale and track those KPIs. And that's really where it goes into the support side, right? Is I've got an awesome team behind us of admins, both in person and virtual. Virtuals, I mean, Sharif, you and I have been working with each other for a little over 4.5 years, the same people, right? And we've grown from there. And really honing in on the three F's: follow up, follow through, and follow back, right? Following up with the clients, following through with what we promise. Like, hey, if I say, I'm going to get you a pre-approval, right? It's going to come in seconds, right? If I say, hey, we're going to actually conduct a meeting, we're following back, and you guys know, like, our team calls the client, gets them on the phone, gets them in there. I'm huge into tech. We've really, really doubled, tripled down on our business for the last 2-3 years, instilling tech and innovating with some of the new things coming out. Further stuff on top of that, right? We do a lot of community events, like you guys know, right? From not just our community events with the client appreciations and stuff, but really investing back, right? Peter, we did the cancer walk the other day. One, as a testament to my late father who passed away, and then two, just really giving back. And then we've done food drives, right, with Fulfill. I live in Ocean County, to Christmas drives, veteran drives, things like that. And it's really done as a basis to show that we're hyper local in the community, not just, just doing loans and, hi, how are you? Here's a piece of paper. Here it is, and take it from there. And then the last side is service. And I don't know if we want to stop in between, but I'll kind of run with it and maybe we can bring it back.
Sure.
Service is obviously huge for us, right? And that's going to come down to our Got Mortgages vault, where I've really tried to perfect that this year. You guys have seen, I've been pushing that a lot to our team and our partners. And I always say, from our mortgage lender's perspective, we really have two clients, right? We have the consumer who's looking to obviously purchase, invest, refinance. But then we have that referral partner. And I never say real estate agent, I say referral partner, because we're partners in referring business. And then it's also honing in on financial advisors and CPAs and accountants and divorce attorneys and stuff like that can generate a business thereafter. Listen, we're a direct lender. So, Pete, how many times have I gotten the phone call? I call them the Dennis Rodman files, right, where we pick up the rebound. And we've closed it in 10 days, 12 days, 11 days, sometimes faster. And I tell the client, listen, I'm going to be your best friend for the next 2 weeks. And then you're going to hate me because I'm going to keep calling you. And my team's awesome. We've got our loan officer assistant, our business development, our loan partner, our junior underwriter. There's so many touch points in a transaction, but I do not hand the baton off. Like, I know where every single transaction is. And it's obviously tough to do it. I also, I'm up at 4 a.m. and I go to sleep at 9. So the window really creates those times to touch points. But we time block it. We keep it consistent. Monday, Wednesday, Friday updates consistently, using a lot more bomb videos now, where you're putting a face in my voice. And, if we run into some snags in a file, it's going to happen. Anyone who says there aren't, they're not necessarily probably not doing enough business, or just maybe not being as truthful. We crank away and we take it from there. So.
Good. I wanted to take it back a little bit to about your background before you even got into mortgages and why you got into mortgage to begin with. So, what did you do in college, and what did you do after that?
Yeah, so I was the first person in my family to ever go to college, which was great, and I'm sure probably most of us were. But I was going to school for political science, actually, to get into law school. Was going at Rutgers, Newark, which I drove by. I know you guys saw I posted. And then I'm like, why does everything look smaller? One, and then two, it was like a whole new world. And if anyone knows Rutgers, Newark, the University Avenue and all that, and some of the changes when Cory Booker was leaving, it's crazy. But I was going there for political science. I had met this 5'1", I think she's less than 5'1", but 5'1" person who just kept following me around. I was actually the one following her around, but my wife. And we're now 17 years later, married, 2 kids and stuff. I was going for political science, got there. Then she actually got pregnant junior year of college. So normally, obviously, that was not planned, as most of us would imagine. We were just starting our spring semester when she was giving birth, January, spring semester in college. But we were blessed, man, and we had awesome support systems. I was part of a fraternity. We had pledges watching her, which is not the funnest thing to admit. But we got it done. We didn't miss school. I was valedictorian for class 2, which was awesome. School for me and all that stuff was great. And I had a choice, right? Do I continue on with law school, or do I go into the workforce? Eventually, I went and worked for a very, very successful PI firm. It's very, very well known in New Jersey for about 6 years. Clients would get their cases settled, and I was the point of contact, as most of you guys know, right? I was the in your face, what's up, what do you got, negotiating with insurance adjusters, training the attorneys, building the systems in place with their paralegals and legal assistants and admins, and how the lead flow used to work. So really help translate into what we're doing now with mortgages, building relationships with Kairos and PTs and all those people who generate lead flow back to you, right? And put those things in place. And then obviously people got their money. What do you think they wanted to do with that? They wanted to buy a house. and I was passing it off to a couple buddies of mine first with nothing in return. I didn't really look for anything. Um, and the common norm was there was things getting dropped, right? The communication channel was just not there. People calling me. Now, I had owned a property right around that time, so I knew how strenuous the process was. But guys like us, right? What are you going to do? You're going to go online, you're going to figure it out, but then you're going to try to write sources, right? Go through Fannie Mae handbook, you're going to go through HUD handbook, you're going to search things. And I said, one day I want to go and get my license. And I'll never forget, I had referred my wife's uncle, and the ball was dropped by literally somebody who I thought was really good. And I said, listen, I'm going to go do it. Took the class like a week or two later, banged it out in a week, Monday to Friday, in Fairfield. And then past Saturday, I still stayed part-time though, as I'm sure most of us probably did when you first got started. So if you're a brand new real estate professional or a brand new loan originator, it's okay to start part-time. It's scary, right? You're going to take a jump to an employment that more than likely is a commission-based employment, and it takes time to build out. Most of you will start with your individual sphere, your friends, your family. This isn't a pyramid scheme. You're not selling life insurance, right? And then you're hitting to renew their thing and then canceling. But yeah, we kind of did that, and eventually I got crazy busy. I had 1 month where I had like 6 transactions closed, and I was like, I think there's something here. And I went to PRMG and I said, hey, listen, I want to get a branch. We ended up doing that and kind of cranked away. So
Nice. Nice. So I'm hearing a couple things in there. One, it really hones down in is you had a purpose and you had a defined why of, what was pushing you forward, what you needed to do. And then also just having that, discipline to actually learn something because you saw struggle somewhere to help other people, but also after that to have systems in place. So when you are talking to both your partners and your clients, you're able to address everything and provide great service. So that's amazing. I mean, but going back to it though, Abdel, like when you looked at it, did it all start off that way? Did you just develop things over time? Like how did you do it? Like, you obviously are smart. You went back, you read different, handbooks and guides, but how did it work out? How did it actually develop?
I mean, listen, I think most of us have learned by the mistakes we've made, right? What does Jordan say? And to butcher the quote, you don't make the shots that you miss, or whatever the hell the quote is. But it's true, right? We've made countless mistakes and errors, and I'm the first one to admit that. But and even till this day, right? Pete, how many times you and I have do transactions? I'm like, shit, I forgot to ask that question. I'll never forget that one VA buyer, right? Who was moving out of state. And I had told him, hey man, you need to sell because we got to restore your entitlement. And at one point I was very like electronic, right? And I think sometimes that tech side kind of kicks in. And I think we all 3 of us, right? I should say, we're like, hey man, I maybe need to take a step back and be a little bit more communicative over the phone as I usually am and explain things a little further. But yeah, I mean, we started off like that. I think as I started also personally getting coached myself too, I know you guys are awesome coaches too, but as I started getting coached too, from different sides of the business too, right? We're someone that was very consumer direct, someone that was referral basis, and someone that was more from like systems and operations and management and things like that. And you kind of put that whole spin yourself, right? A big push this year, like I said, is going to be even further emphasis on the consumer education like we usually do, but really innovating more into the AI space, right? Like we've got some really cool stuff coming out with AI follow-ups. There was supposed to be some changes in laws that's now been pushed back, right? Whenever you're watching this, but it's been pushed back. I know most of us were on the edge of our seats because I'm like, damn, I got to get my E&O insurance ready to go with the amount of stuff that's going to happen. But I think it's important for us to also, post-COVID, I learned that, hey, I need to not just be interest rate monthly payment sensitive. I need to be educated on the market and understand inflation and employment and existing home sales and PCE report and all that if you asked me in 2021, I'd be like, what are you talking about? I just closed this amount of business. I've never even spoken about that. And then surely, started hearing that, holy crap, we're Fed's going to start tapering. You're like, what the hell's that? So I think we started doing a little bit more digging in. I did go back to school for my master's in risk and compliance at Montclair State, which kind of helped me get a little bit even more further understanding into how just the infrastructure, of the legislative chamber and compliance and things like that were put in place, which all kind of allowed us to put all those systems in place and really start to change along the way. So
Awesome. I mean, I know you go to the gym all the time too, Abdel, and I wanted to ask you about that. Like, how do you feel the gym and having that discipline to go and wake up every morning to go early impacted your business?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've always been a juice head, a gym jockey for probably since Rutgers days. So since I was 18. And I think it really allows you to, one, get in touch with that strong mindset, right? And really perfect that mindset. I mean, dude, there's days where even if you're out late, and I've been doing dry January, right? I've actually kind of stuck to it. I screwed up once. We went out for my birthday and watched the Eagles still win, which I was not too happy about. But and I think it's great because it keeps you in check. I've got a pretty consistent timeline in place where we work out, right? Whole full blown regimen. I go 7 days a week. Today is my cardio and sauna days, literally. So, and then I'm always trying to find out different, not to sound cheesy, but podcasts and stuff like that to listen to instead of listening to, your typical music, whether it's house or reggaeton or whatever. And I'm always usually sending out my emails. You guys know when I do those updates, I'm doing them at 5:30 in the morning, usually 5:45, because I'm just about wrapping up my workout, and I'm in the sauna, and I'm like, all right, well, instead of me just sitting there, or talking to some professionals, really, because the people who are going that early are also generally sales leaders, right, and business owners. I've gotten, I mean, I can't even tell you how many contracts and even friendships just from being consistent, going early in the morning. You guys know on Friday we were down in Seagirt, which is like the military base with the Department of Corrections, basically speaking to about 70 plus, law enforcement officers, talking about the benefit of home ownership and investment and kind of educating them on, PBA loans and the pros and cons, and many of them that are veterans. So going over that and doubling down on that, like I said, investing in the community for us is huge. And these are all guys who are fit too. So income this 6'1", 295-pound gorilla, hence the gorilla on the shirt. And I've really kind of doubled down on that branding. But gym for me is critical. Fitness, mindset, right? Mind, body, soul, and yeah.
And what makes you different again? Like, I know you touched me based on the technology, and like, what makes you different to other realtors that want to partner up with you? What makes you stand out, and why should another real estate agent work with you?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I think, listen, Peter, how you run your business model is different than how Sharif runs his business model, is different than, say, how Mary Smith or John Doe does. And I think what really allows us the ability to do that and understand that as a fellow business owner ourselves, mortgages and real estate is really not that much different, right? From a sales perspective, just we have to stay educated on interest rate and bond market and 10-year treasury. You guys know from our trainings too, I'm also taking that approach and educating our referral partners. Really as an emphasis, because if, your average consumer is going to come to you and say, hey, how are interest rates in 2024? You might not know, but then you're like, well, I remember that gorilla kept putting it in our head that it was like 6.5 to 7.4 was the average over 52 weeks. Okay. And then I also remember that he mentioned that the existing home sales are set to jump up about 9 to 11%, and Jersey's even crazier. You guys have known, right, so many times rates kind of trick. They go up, they go down. But then we also know that the gap between homeowners and then renters is expanding even further, where there's like an average net worth on a homeowner is like 410,000 and on a renter is like 10 grand. Dude, I don't care if rates are 20%, right? When you rent, you're at 100% on an interest rate perspective, right? You're losing out on the appreciation. And I think when we're doing that, right, I'm constantly meeting with referral partners, not just real estate agents, also in an effort to put that together too, right? Pete, you've got your go-to attorney, right, who's constantly calling me on a personal level too. We just had a very similar family personal loss too. So I'm constantly checking in. Yo, dude, what's up? How you feeling? How's everything? Can I help out? And we really kind of keep it personal, right? Peter, you sure if you've got yours, right? Recommended her daughter, right? And constantly sharing those relationships. I think it's the authenticity that you really can't fake, right? With the consistency. That's like, how can we help one another? Because my business is far from perfect. and I'm sure yours is on your way to perfection. But if I can come in there and interject and maybe give one recommendation or two or three, and can we do events, right? How many times do we call and we're like, hey, I want to do an event. I'm like, why the hell are you asking me? Just tell me when I have to be there and what are we looking to spend? And I think it's important that that's really what we're about. And it's done with consistency and in an effort to be like, hey, client's about to be changing realtors, just a heads up, right? And I know many professionals don't do that, but respecting that loyalty and the integrity of our partnership and what we can each grow together, understanding we're all about. My new three things has been recruiting, retaining, and revenue. And if we really kind of look at it, our business is based on that, right? Recruiting, always looking for loan officers who are studs. You guys are always looking for real estate agents who are really good. We're obviously always looking in an effort to retain real estate professionals and retain clients, right? So we need to put systems in place for that. And of course, we kind of take away. We all have children and families from our family. So I also want to hope I'm making money. I'll concentrate on revenue and how we could double down.
Nice, nice. All great points, actually. But I mean, it all goes back to just having, that purpose and just grinding every day. That's what I'm hearing, and just being consistent every day, and the systems will develop. It's not like it's going to be out of the box perfection, and you're always going to be working to it. I'm not even sure there's even such thing as perfection, Abdel, to be honest with you, because I think we'll always find a flaw. Something will always go wrong, and we'll always try to improve on it. And that's the mentality you have to have, is always wanting to improve. If you're comfortable, you're probably not growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's really what you really have to focus on, is just growth and perfection. But those are all amazing points. I'm so glad you shared it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, perfection. Listen, I'm such a perfectionist, and I have learned, listen, it's okay. If it's not 120% perfect, as long as the point is gone across or things like that, next time a similar circumstance occurs or a similar situation occurs, there better be systems in place to check those things into how we work.
That's it. That's key. It's you got to grab a hold of that and understand. Don't get offended. Don't get upset. Use it. We keep saying it. We fail, fail, fail. The reason why you fail, fail, fail is so you can find solutions so you don't fail in the future, right? So it's part of the process. You have to fail to succeed, and you have to have those issues in order to find a solution so that you can perfect the process. And it's so important that it's going to happen, and it's just lessons you're going to learn along the way.
Yeah, I think the most common thing that professionals, all of us, right, probably even ourselves, right, we all come together and we're like, dude, I got this great idea. And then I'm like, all right, well, it's plan, implement, execute. So you're planning, you got a great idea. There's that disc profile, right, that you always, what side of the spectrum are you? I think we're probably always changing, right, depending on moods, but very high D and then sometimes very analytical. So it's sometimes trying to figure out that, but also hiring and delegating to weaknesses too is key, right? Like, I am not going to be the one who's going to sugarcoat stuff, right? I know, Sharif, you're like that too. Peter, you're simultaneously like that as well. So what do? We hire admins or referral partners or teammates or like myself, right? I have more support staff than I have sales professionals. It's very uncommon in many real estate industries, right? I've got my business development, my LOA, my junior underwriter, my processor, my 4 ISAs, and then I have my 6 loan officers. And all that.
It's a village. I mean, you definitely have to have the amount of people to break up your personality, but also to get the job done. I mean, I think it's important as well. I mean, that's definitely good points.
Yeah. I think also you said something too that I know you use technology and AI a lot, but you also did mention that you went back to talking to people more because you saw that there was, some people wanted that in-person connection or face-to-face connection sometimes you hop on Zoom, which is a really good point because I know we're in a world where AI is, on up and up, and a lot of people are actually scared that it may replace certain professionals. But this is just a great point that shows that people still want that human connection where they actually want to make sure that they speak with somebody on a personal level. And you recognizing that right away, I believe it helped a lot. And also, I think it's a great point for us as real estate agents because we can't slowly depend on technology, no matter how much we know that it will help. There are certain aspects that we cannot delegate to technology.
Yeah, listen, having conversations with people, again, I've got a very raw passion for this business. And it's not the, hey, I like to see people smile and the happiness when I give them the keys. Like, no, I just truly like the challenge. And I really like that client who's like, right, people, we have one of, as we speak, where there's like language barriers in place and there's like overseas stuff and this and that. Dude, I've jumped on Zoom with this guy like 4, 5 times and I'm okay with it, right? If anything, we've changed our flow. You guys have seen now where it's initial touch. We're going to talk, we're going to educate, we're going to do that. But then when I'm issuing the pre-approval, we need to do a hopes and dreams phone call where we actually need to jump on. I'm going to show you some statistical numbers on appreciation. I'm going to show you, hey, dude, you're about to buy this house right now. It might seem like a lot, but let's look at your future in 5 years and 10 years and show you how much value you're going to build, especially first-time home buyers. Or if you're an investor, right? Let's take a look at rate numbers. Hey, your monthly payment is X. You might take an L right now for like the first year. Goal is to refi. If we don't refinance from a worst case scenario, what is your cash flow remaining? What's the ROI on the property? Does it actually make sense, right? And I think when we kind of package all that, but I've learned from professionals who are like, yo, dude, you text a little bit more, you email a little bit more, and I'm the first one who will sometimes, I'm very open to criticism. So I'm like, the old Abdel, if you asked me 3 years ago, I would have told you to go kick rocks, right? But now I think I'm like, dude, you know what? You're right. Like I'm texting this client, he may necessarily not be understanding, or I'm speaking with a referral partner and they might not be understanding. Let me pick up my phone. I got unlimited calls. Might as well use it. And I think as we've gotten that more clearer to there, and listen, this is also a Monday to Monday, eyes open to eyes shut gig. This is not a 9 to 5. You guys know we like to do our trips. I've got it mapped out, right? I'm leaving to Florida in February. I'm going in March to a wedding. April, I'm sneaking away with the family. May, I'll be sneaking away with our president's cabinet. And then I don't go on vacation because then spring season hits, summer season hits, tax for for self-employed people hit, right? September, October, they're trying to figure it out. And then we rinse and repeat from there. But it's also tests in place for those of us who are owners and brokers and team leaders as to can the team hold it down while we're out. Right. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Any last thoughts, Abdel, that you want to maybe tell the audience, or also, like, first of all, how can they reach you? And again, like, what is going to make, you stand out when you work with them? I mean, I know for a fact for us, you do the biweekly trainings for the team, which have been very insightful. A lot of the team members actually look forward to that because it helped them educate their financial background and also their clients, right? So, any last thoughts on that, and then how can they find out more about you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, you have to remain coachable in this business. Really hone in on finding the right team. Build what I call, right, Peter. I call my team the Avengers. Right? Literally. Right? How many times am I like, hey, connecting you guys to the Avengers? You're like, who the hell is the Avengers? But you got to build that right Avenger team around you, right? And perfect there. And listen, I'm probably the worst person to talk about a work-life balance because I don't believe in it. I think there's a harmony in place, right? Just like when you're married, again, been with my wife for 17 years, right? One day she's at 80%, one day I'm at 20%, one day I'm at 80%, one day I'm at 20%. And I think you're going to end up like that sometimes, within your business. I think as long as you stay consistent and really lean on your referral partner, right? On education, communication, setting the proper expectations, right? No sugarcoat, right? If something is necessarily maybe something's hitting the fan, right? Being honest about it and being like, okay, setting the proper communication channels is important. Hey, do you want to text, email, phone call? What works best for you? What time works best for you? And I think that's really what we can bring to the table on top of the sales service support that we talked about at the beginning of the call, right? With lead generation, with our ISA follow-up systems, with our education, with our community, home buying seminars, a big push into the local community and the things that can transpire too. And we take it from there. Social media is huge. I'm not even going to talk about that, but that to us is a huge avenue of business too. I get so many DMs and we're running our Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube stuff, and just find yourself to be omnipresent. Right? You do have to be caught in many different ways, just not just online, but in person too. And keep it on auto, and just keep looking to innovate and take it from there. So
Nice.
Great. And how
Hey,
can
how could,
people? Yeah.
there you go.
I was waiting for it. Listen, our website is gotmortgages.com. Obviously, our whole branding is Got Mortgages. I could be found online at Got Mortgages. My email is info@gotmortgages.com. And yeah, super, super excited. We do lend throughout the entire nation as well, not just in New Jersey. So if you're looking to purchase outside of the state, or if you yourself are from outside the state, we offer a lot of things with the same streamlined model, right? And always looking, as I keep saying, innovating and integrating. I mean, AI stuff I'm so stoked for, because especially for my team, I can literally upload pay stub, tax returns, and bank statements, and in less than 2 minutes, it spits out what's the qualifiable income. I mean, that literally saves me an entire position. And I think not being afraid from tech, right? But actually accepting it and figuring out ways that it can fit in within your business. I know we're just over the time, but like, I'm going through the process right now. I'm picking up a Tesla tomorrow. I finally caved in, and I am not one to buy the fancy car and do this and do that. But I finally caved in, one, because I'm getting killed on gas. And again, you guys know me, I'm not small. So I'm driving a Dodge Hemi pickup because it's the only thing I could fit in comfortably. And I'm spending like 60, $70 every 2-3 days. And again, especially this year, being around to move around, right? I've kind of allowed myself to be like, all right, I got to be a little smarter about this. Did some research, ended up getting a Tesla. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because, first of all, it's like nothing process I've ever seen before, right? Where, like, you go to a dealership, you bust the sales guy's chops, you bust the finance guy's chops, try to get what you want. Then you call your credit union and you're like, all right, this is what I got, beat their offer, right? With Tesla, it's not there. There's no dealership, right? It's all like through the app. You like pre-order the car, and then it's like made for you. I literally did it on Wednesday. I'm picking up the car tomorrow, like literally brand new made, which is wild. But the reason why I share this is because, you do the order, but then you're like, dude, I want to talk to somebody about how I can add more miles. Or I want to talk to somebody about how I can maybe do like a specific stitch in the car. Or, hey, the financing terms that their institution gave me, I want to see if I can get a lower rate. And I'm like uploading bank statements showing that I have the necessary reserves and whatever. And you kind of became impatient. I'm very impatient. So the reason why I share that is, Peter, to your point in the beginning, right? When people being afraid of technology, I don't think it's going to really take away that personal touch. So if you're someone out there who's afraid of tech, don't accept it. Understand that it's here and it's not going anywhere. It's only going to get crazier, right? We've got a new administration in power, and I won't go into politics, but a lot of new executive orders are getting pushed mainly for, obviously, an effort to reduce costs. Got to bring inflation down. And AI is at the forefront of that stuff, right? So accepting that and understanding that, I think, will allow us to be that much more successful and crank away. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Abdel. Definitely a pleasure having you on here. And guys, if you are looking for a lender, realtors, or consumers, feel free to reach out to Abdel at Got Mortgages, and he's also big on social media. You can easily find him.
awesome.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Bye,
All right,
guys.
thanks, Matt.
Bye, guys.